you. So, the President of France was quoted in 2 publications over the weekend as saying that Europe should pursue a different strategy on Taiwan from Washington. I just wanted to know if the State Department has a response to that, especially given the last couple meetings now with European allies. The U.S. has touted a strong strategic alliance against China.
Let me say a couple things. First, the foundation of the transatlantic relationship is our shared commitment to democratic principles, the rule of law, the respect for human rights, and an international rules-based order. And France is our oldest ally, and these shared values have been the North Star of our partnership and continue to guide us today, including both of our countries' joint approach in supporting Ukraine. This is also the case in terms of the broad concern related to the PRC and its coercive economic practices, its threatening behavior towards Taiwan, and its human rights abuses, and the risk of deepening or creating new economic dependencies. The Secretary just returned from a NATO foreign ministers ministerial where there was an entire session on the role that the Indo-Pacific plays. And that's because NATO has recognized the PRC's stated ambitions and policies. They challenge our interests, they challenge our security, and they challenge our values. And allies, including France, have committed to work together to address these systemic challenges. As you likely know, Shannon, EU President von der Leyen has also been part of these travels to Beijing, and the EU itself has described the PRC as a systemic rival and strategic competitor, in addition to being a partner. As I said, President von der Leyen outlined in her speech in March that the PRC poses risks to European economic and national security. The United States and the EU remain concerned regarding the PRC's support of Russia's invasion in Ukraine. But broadly, what I would just ultimately say again is that countries have their own sovereign decisions and have their own sovereign decisions to make as it relates to any bilateral relationship that they hold. Our viewpoint will always be, what can we accomplish bilaterally and multilaterally with countries where partnership with the United States is at its center. And I think through the partnership between the United States and France and the partnership between the United States and the EU, we have done a lot of important, great work, including supporting our Ukrainian partners in the face of Russian aggression, and I think that work is going to continue to move forward as we continue to work collaboratively to deal with the growing role that the PRC plays as well. Leon, go ahead.
I guess the follow-up is a must. You don't really answer the question in the sense that you don't qualify or characterize President Macron's comments. Do you find them helpful, unhelpful? And also, I mean, this is against the backdrop of the Chinese maneuvers off of Taiwan, which are finishing today, fairly important. And the France is basically saying that the Europeans in general should not get caught in this sort of block or logic of blocks between China and the U.S. or tit for tat between China and the U.S. and have their own autonomous strategy. So how does that fit in?
Well, let me say a couple of things. I think, again, these countries countries have their own sovereign autonomy. They have their own right to have bilateral relationships. They have their own right to comment on these bilateral relationships. But what I know is that the United States and France's partnership is deep. They are our oldest allies. We have countless shared values, and they have been immense partners in both holding Russia accountable for its aggression into Ukraine. They have been immense partners in our work to address the challenges posed by the PRC. They have been, of course, helpful in the EU context, but also through NATO and through these other fora as well. Specifically on the actions that you so referred to, Leon, we are, of course, closely monitoring those actions. And actions like these, they undermine peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait, which we continue to believe, and it is a viewpoint that we know our French allies share, is critical to global prosperity. And as we have said before, you heard me say this on Thursday, there is no reason for the PRC to turn a transit which held precedent which is consistent with U.S. longstanding policy into something that it's not.
Yes, but Vedant, you've been saying there's no reason for them to, but they did. They sent out ships and everything. So you can't come, a week later after the fact and say there's no reason for them to. They did it. So,
Well, there is no reason for them to. I understand that they did it, and as I said, we are closely monitoring Beijing's actions, but also broadly, in keeping with our belief that we won't be deterred from operating safely and responsibly in the seas and the skies of the Western Pacific, consistent with international law. In keeping with that, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group and Marine Amphibious Readiness Group are conducting routine operations in the Philippine Sea and will remain in that region. And I will say again that there's no reason to turn this transit into something that it was not. Anything else on this?